Blog Talk Radio.
You're listening to RVD Radio.
Drop that down! The whole fucking show! Drop that down! The whole fucking show! Been assassinator! Drop that down! The whole fucking show! Drop that down! The whole fucking show! A damn got straight to your brain! Straight to your skull crack! You get down to straight to your brain! Straight to your skull crack! Drop that down! The whole fucking show! Drop that down! The whole fucking show! I will fly high! 5-star frog splash! You can't stop me! 5-star frog splash! Drop that down! The whole fucking show! Drop that down! The whole fucking show! It's all about the yin and the yang! The balance of power that's in! You can't stop the yin and the yang! The balance of power that's in! Drop it down! The whole fucking show! Drop it down! The whole fucking show! I will levitate! Flip kick you in the air! I will decimate! You can prepare for! Drop it down! The whole fucking show! 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 Drop it down! The whole fucking show!
Dude, shouldn't we have that bell ring like at the beginning of every show? Maybe at the end too. What are the chances I'll remember to hit that at the end? Oh, fuck it. You don't even like it in the first place. All right, fuck that bell. Get out of here, bell. Got some new sound effects, some new old sound effects that were rehashed that we haven't used in a while. Plenty of them from a very favorite episode involving Mr. Sabu and David DeFalco. Remember that when they were arguing about whether Sabu shit in Dave's sink and clogged up his pipes or not? If you haven't heard that one, you got to go back. But you may hear little excerpts taken from that very episode.
That guy, he's full of shit and he's a faggot, and when I see him, I'm going to break his fucking twig boy neck.
Holy cow, Sabu, you must have been in one crazy mood. I'm sure he just had to get that off his chest, and then he felt better.
That dude's a fucking wannabe fucking faggot bodybuilder dick sucking asshole.
All right, I'm sure those will fall into play if I'm quick enough on the trigger, which I'm usually not, because I'm usually so deep into the conversation, although that varies. Variance is important. And this is the content that we'll be talking about today, the importance of variables, of in like a math lesson. A math lesson? Yeah. Well, it could be, because you figure out the average, and then you figure out that sets the standards for mediocrity, dictionary, mediocreness, mediocrity. I think that's it. Anyway, so there's that. But do you go for that? Is that what you go for? Is your goal just to try to fit in and be like everybody else? For a lot of people, that's exactly what they want. Exactly. For all of us sometimes. Then at other times we want to stand out and be noticed. So this is our topic today. And why am I rushing right into the fucking topic? I don't know, man. It just kind of flowed. That's how we do things. What am I going to plug anyway? Going to plug a couple things. Nothing really big. I got a publisher for my comic book, Twisted Perception. Don't have the deal signed yet. Once I do, I will promote it, and everybody can be privy to the info as we are here. But pretty stoked about that. I went through 3 or 4 different publishing companies that were going to do the book, and the business went all the way down to the last dot on the contracts, and then boom, backed out. They backed out. That's happened again and again for whatever reason, but this one's going to go through. So that's cool. One of my many side projects. Another side project that I have is Platypi Productions, which if you're not familiar with it yet, you will be when you watch the new RVD TV episode, which is called Nonconformity. Nonconformity. I love that word. So I decided to make that a whole line of clothing apparel. It's stickers and whatever, coffee mugs, hats, T-shirts, all the above. But we're starting, so we're growing. PlatypiProductions.org is the site where everything is. And so I did a TV episode, RVD TV, to explain what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and to show you a little bit of what's going on up there at the RVD Productions office. So I'm pretty stoked. Oh, did I mention that Rob Van Dam edits those episodes? Not all of them. If you're going to go looking through the RVD TV episodes on my website, some of the earlier ones I did not do, and then I had to take over and had to do it myself because there was too many issues I had with the way it was being done. So I put something else big, massive on my plate of things to do when I decided I was going to edit the episodes, which I've been doing. And by the way, they're pretty awesome. Pretty proud of the Nonconformity episode. So here's what it is. It's about standing out, but not necessarily making such a strong effort to stand out. It's more of not making an effort to fit in. So we're all born as individuals with our own complete, unique identities. Fact. Even if you're a twin. All right. If you're an identical twin, go ahead and call in and argue with me on that. But either way, obviously, they're two different people. They sometimes get along, sometimes they don't. They don't like all the same things. Whatever. We're made up of different ingredients. And so that's our natural default. That's what we're supposed to be. That's what we revert back into when we stop making such an effort to try to fit in, to be accepted by everybody else. And I don't think that anybody is immune to this. It's part of being human. It's probably part of being alive. I'm sure animals in the wild, you see the babies look up to the adults, to their parents, to whoever, so that they can have an idea of how to behave. Okay, this is how we do it. However, there's a need to feel validated by others that don't have the same standards as you, and so then you have to make an effort to think outside of your comfortable realm, and we all go through it. As adults, it's easy to say that's a big part of growing up, adolescence. I remember, what was it, 3rd grade or something, when I first started noticing, like kids would make fun of clothes if they didn't think they were cool enough. I wore Trax tennis shoes, which everybody knew Trax was the Kmart brand. He's got Kmart shoes on. Everybody was wearing Jordache jeans. They were like the designer jeans. Never heard of that shit before, but now they're out. Everybody had to get them. Otherwise, you just weren't cool. And I had to, Mom, Dad, I need some Jordache jeans so I can be cool. Looking back at it from where I'm at this point in life, it seems ridiculous. It's not. It's part of how you build your own self-esteem and how you help set your own values that you'll take into life, shit like that. But the importance put on it, heavily overestimated, in my opinion, and definitely at different times in life. There's times when you really want to stand out and be different, and then there's times when you don't want to stand out and you want to kind of blend in. But overall, to put your self-value on other people's standards because of the way that you dress or you talk funny, so you want to learn to talk like other people or act like them or look like them. Dude, who are these people that you want to be? I say be yourself. And at some point in my life, I started taking pride in that, in being different. I don't know exactly when it was. Sometime like around junior high, people were doing things like they'd take out, they're wearing colored shoelaces. That was a thing that was popular for a minute. Ooh, I could like really stand out just by having like fluorescent shoelaces in my shoes. That'd be awesome. Then I remember at one point lacing the shoes backwards so that the bow tied down at the toes. And people, like I did that. I don't know why, but I did that. And I thought, hey, I'm different. And then people thought I was weird for doing it. And I started thinking, you know what? I think I'm okay with that. I think I'm okay with these people realizing that I don't need to be like them in order to feel validated. Non-conformity. All kinds of areas of life. This is a strong factor, whether you're wrestling or socializing or working or whatever. And to back that up, my beautiful SVD. Baby, you taking off?
Mhm. Yep.
Okay.
Gotta go.
Are you a non-conformist?
Sure.
Okay. Love you, baby.
Love you too.
Okay. SVD taking off here. She often has issues or points out my non-conforming ways, and it often leads to a point of confusion, like, oh, well, this is the way I do it. Okay, especially when it comes to driving. Here's one for you. Is a good driver someone that conforms, or is a good driver someone that's skilled at handling the machine? There is a commercial where a bogus commercial, but where a driving instructor has like a race car driver that he doesn't know in with him, and he thinks he's going to give him a driving lesson. And I think the guy's name is Jeff Gordon. Could be way off by that, but this guy floors it. He's doing all these donuts. He's up on the ramp, and the driving instructor's like shitting his pants the whole time. Oh my God! And then and the guy's perfect all the way into where they hit the emergency brake and spin into a 180 and back right into a fucking parking spot. Boom. To me, that is an excellent driver. Uncanny. Very extremely skilled. To other people, you're a good driver or not, depending on if you stop all the way at the stop signs. What the fuck? I don't see it that way at all. I don't think that being able to be extra overly careful, being able to conform to drive under all the... I'm not suggesting people break all the rules, but I'm just saying anybody can stop all the way and then go. That doesn't take that much skill. And the more you do that or the less you do that means the more you do it or the less you do it. I don't think that is a factor on how good you are necessarily at operating the machine. So when it comes to driving, a lot of people base their entire value of how good you are on how well you conform to the rules and laws that are laid out before us. I always say this, rules made before me weren't made for me. They weren't. How the fuck could they have been? I wasn't around. So, anyway, I've been babbling for fucking 15 minutes. We got a show to do. I think you understand what I'm talking about. If not, pay attention. Going right up to Blog Talk Radio producer Nikki Starr. How the hell are you today?
Oh, you are not a nonconformist. You are an anarchist, just so you know.
Anarchist?
No, an anarchist. Anarchy.
Oh, doesn't that refer more to just the government? That's what I think of.
No. Who do you think makes the rules for when we drive? That would be the government.
Okay,
yeah.
All right.
So I agree in nonconformity.
Okay, well,
I agree in nonconformity, except in when other people's lives will be put in danger. So if everybody nonconformed, like you, we would all be smashing into each other.
Sure, and I don't think everybody should just go out and be individuals that don't look at what other people are doing. I don't think we should all be our own sole survivors like we're the only people on the planet. I mean, there's definitely a big advantage to getting together, and, you know, two brains are better than one, so you get together, you come up with ideas on how shit's going to work. But when it comes to just seeing when it comes to, like, being Nikki Starr, I mean, can you imagine, like, if you're still, like, in high school mentality, you're like, oh, my God, all the other girls have their hair colored like this, so I got to wear this. Oh, the other girls are wearing this, so I got to wear this. And there's a lot of pressure put on.
I never really did that much, though. Yeah, I never really did that much.
Never?
No. I was pretty much a nerdy, kind of geeky, do whatever I want kind of kid.
Cool.
I always liked different types of music, and, I never really fit in until I got older and met my death metal people, and then I was like, yes, I finally fit in.
In different areas where we stand out.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. I think, there was a time when, like, other kids that totally were different were weird, and then there was a time when I had to accept that.
Oh, I did. Oh, I certainly did that every day of high school.
I remember this one kid, I don't know his name, but he had long hair. He wore these, like, teacher glasses, and his hair was all over to the side, and he was just, to me, he was a freak. Like, I hadn't seen anything like him. I was like, dude, who is this guy, and how dare him have the balls to be like that? You know what I mean? And then guess what? He started dating Sue Gerard, one of the most popular and hottest girls in our school, and I was like, what? He can get that? And then, somewhere along the way, I had to accept that this whatever was made. In fact, he was jamming with it, and at a certain point, I had to start respecting that. When I got into wrestling, I always thought I tried to do moves I'd never seen before. You know what I mean? Like everyone can do a clothesline. I wanted to jump up and do a split and bounce off that and into a backflip and stuff like that. You know what I mean? It was like, to me, I was like, if I bought a ticket to see wrestling, I'd want to see. And still today, I've been in wrestling, over 20 years. Mm-hmm. I still see some moves I haven't seen before, and I fucking love that. I love when a wrestler can do something if it's good. Now, some guys do something that I think is the shits, and I'm like, well, there's a reason nobody does that move. That happens a lot too. But overall, boom, you got to stand out, especially in the entertainment business. And one way that I started doing that was by my moves, and then it led to me being recognized for my athleticism, and then started breaking records and all this. And then I was like, hey, RVD's doing it his own way. He's making his own path. I was like, fucking A, I love that. Nikki Starr, I'm going to take Fonzie's call, and then we got some other calls and stuff, some other guests. But hang out, and thanks for doing the show, yo.
Okay.
Fonzie Daddy.
Hi, Fonzie Daddy.
Hey, so are you RVD?
Hey, welcome back to RVD Radio, Fonzie Daddy.
Oh, I'm so glad you called me. So glad you called me today. Text me today and let me know that you guys were on. I lost contact there for a few minutes.
Yeah, I know. I haven't really been doing the shows that often at all. I keep I get around to it every once in a while after it's been, after it's been like 3 or 4 weeks. I go, fuck, I got to do another show, And by the way, a lot of times we throw this together. A lot of times we don't even have topics. So I suggest, RVD Radio listeners, that you go to the forums at robvandam.com and there you leave comments there on my audio blogs, on the interviews, on everything. But go there and go look up RVD Radio and give us some ideas for some future topics that'll make things like easier to do. Because,
RVD, what's the topic today? What are we talking about today?
Non-Conformity, Fonzie Daddy, talking about the resistance to make a strong effort to try to fit in and be like everybody else. Something that I think is more of a natural default for me. That's kind of like my vibe, but it's something that's conscious, and it's a conscious effort as well as a natural ability for me to be different. And
I think it was a natural ability for me to have longevity in the wrestling business and sustain a job because I was not like being everybody, but I wasn't like stepping on toes. I wasn't making big noise. I was just fitting right in the form. So I went from, Florida Championship Wrestling to WCW to WWE and, of course, to ECW where we hooked up. But my longevity was just being not like everybody else, but being the best, but not being an outcast. I just fit right in without making waves. Is that what we're kind of talking about?
Yeah, well, everything, what it means to you. Like, when people give compliments about you, doesn't it feel better when they talk about things that make you above and beyond the standards of normal expectations? Like, for instance, if someone says about Fonzie, he's a good referee, okay, that means that he does as good as everybody else. Whatever standards you use to value a good referee by, Fonzie meets those. But if someone goes and throws a comment beyond it, says, well, you know what? Fonzie's got amazing energy. He gets up at 9 in the morning and he just starts like doing jumping jacks, and then for the first 3 hours of the day, he's running around. He can't stand still. Boom. To me, that stands out as a much stronger compliment, but also just a quality that it's easier to remember somebody by something that makes them different and in a good way. Doesn't that seem like that holds a lot more impact?
Yeah, because I always was one step ahead of the, not knocking anybody else. Of course, that's not me. You know me, RVD. But I was dressed good. Oh, look at Fonzie. I outdressed. When we were at Madison Square Gardens, I'd wear a suit, dress nice. And so I'd stick out. The other referees would be in jeans and T-shirts, and I'd wear a suit. So what? It made me feel good. Ben said, oh, Fonzie, you look great. All you other referees, I want you to start dressing like Fonzie for these big shows. And I got heat with the other boys, the other referees, for dressing nice. So it made me feel good because I stood out, and then, you know what I mean? And when I went,
I'm not no nice guy no more, you fucking dick.
When I went to Japan, I saw the Japanese flag on, and the American flag was Flair Fujinami, and they loved it. It was something different, just a little attitude from Fonzie, and they loved it. You know what I mean? But I always went above and beyond, so I understand that part too. But fitting in without causing disturbances got me a long way too. But I always did it I gave it 100% effort, and a little more got me longevity in the job.
Right, so it's all about balance. Just like everything in life, it seems like it's about balance. Sometimes I go up on stage and do stand-up comedy. For that, you would think that standing out, like anywhere in the entertainment business, standing out is going to give you more and better business. I mean, who would want to go up on stage and try to be exactly just like everybody else? When people ask me when they don't understand, you do comedy, they're like, are you good? Can you do it? And I wonder, if they're thinking, can I be just like everybody else? I don't try to be. I go up there and I'm myself, and I connect with the crowd, and they laugh, and it's like I'm sure that the way that I do it is way different than the way everyone else does it, but most most everyone that does it is different. Ron Swallow, comedian from California, good friend of Bruce Jingles. Got him on the show and want to get his opinion too. So jump on in here, Ron Swallow. How are you today?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing excellent. Muy excellent.
Jingles, Daddy.
Yeah. Jingles and swallow. That's how we do it.
Fucking A. Hey, so Ron, you know, we're talking about nonconformity and you yourself being a comedian, I think probably, and you can tell me if this is right or not, but I think that like your whole profession relies on you being able to, first off, see the world differently than other people. That's what makes the joke. But it also they have to be able to relate to it so that then they can think that it's funny. So first they look at you like, wow, here's this guy pointing out shit in our lives. You know, like he's got a different view. But then the funny part is like you got to tell them what they're already thinking, but they don't realize that they're thinking. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, and that's actually one of the most interesting things because I was realizing more and more the reason I got into stand-up in the first place was because I never really fit in a lot. But once I got on stage and everybody was laughing at me, that's when I actually connected. It's like, oh, they get my sense of humor. May not always get me when we're out hanging out, but on the stage, that's where I connect with people because for some reason, I'm able to take a subject, make it still a surprise, but while it's a surprise, it's still relatable. That's one of comics. I think a lot of comics make a mistake in that they'll have a bit that's really smart or interesting, but the jump they have in their punchline is so big a jump that a regular person can't connect to it. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I could go up and do jokes about what it's like in the ring, but nobody would relate to it. Like, don't you hate that when you're in the ring and you throw somebody in the ropes to give them a move, and when they come back, like nobody would understand what the fuck I'm talking about because people can't relate to that. But when you talk about things that everyone can relate to, like, don't you hate it when you're on an elevator waiting to get off and the doors open up? You can't get off because everyone is fucking crowding on you trying to get on, even though they can't fit on the fucking elevator until you get off, but they do it anyway because they're fucking stupid. People go like, hey, you know, he's right. I never thought about that, but yeah, that happens a lot. That's relating,
exactly.
right?
Well,
fucking
exactly.
A, Ron.
I do a lot of nerd stuff.
Right.
And the key to the nerd stuff is making it relatable, which usually comes down to just making some kind of dirty joke having to do with the nerd thing to get your point across. But it works.
Well, that's the thing, you know, about like nerds are always the ones in school that are outcasts and that the popular kids look at them, you know, like sometimes, at least when I was a kid, as if they're like a lesser being or something. And then you know, all it takes is some girls to decide they like nerds, and bam, guess what? The whole equation has turned the fuck around. Big Bang Theory has made nerds very popular. And they are, and all of us have an inner nerd anyway, I think. So like we can relate to it. Maybe that's why a lot of people spend
what's
time
even a nerd anymore?
What's that?
You know, I mean, it's gotten to the point where at least comic book movies are so popular, and people are always. You can see people wearing Batman shirts everywhere, and Spider-Man shirts, and hell, Deadpool. I saw a bunch of people wearing Deadpool shirts, and not at a Comic-Con. You know what I mean? Like, it's you know,
Deadpool, by the way, is like one of the coolest comic books ever. Just
great, hilarious.
Just so you know, yeah. So that's it too. I got. Let me go back to the phones because I got another guest. Shelly Martinez has been waiting. Thank you for waiting on hold, and thank you for bringing yourself to RVD Radio, Shelly.
Well, it's always a pleasure. Hello, gentlemen.
He's got so far. We got Nikki Starr and Ron Swallow on the phone lines with us, Shelly. And we're talking about being yourself, standing out, being original, and the whole value in that versus wanting to fit in. And I think everybody can relate to an extent. And the reason that I'm doing this, you know, I've launched the Platypi Productions clothing line. And the new RVD TV episode that's up at robvandam.com. It's also on YouTube that I edited because I'm awesome. It brings you in to the production of these shirts, and it's basically like my nonconformist expressions that I live by. They're like my own rules that I sometimes say. I'm putting them on shirts. It's okay to be different, stuff like that. There's one of my favorite shirts is 99 Problems Trying to Be You Ain't One, which, by the way, thank you. Yeah, I've got one for Ron coming up. Got a send Ron Swallow a Nonconformity T-shirt. By the way, my partner Retro Chris, when he made that, he was talking about Jay-Z. He was talking about, Jay-Z might get mad that you used that. He didn't even know that Ice Cube did that, like, way back in the day. You know that, right, Ron?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. And I had to convince my partner, who thinks he's a musical producer too, by the way. I had to tell him, dude, didn't you used to listen to NWA back in the day? He said, well, yeah, I listened to that. I remember Ice Cube doing 99 Problems. I'm like, okay, whatever. That's the easiest thing in the world to prove. Jay-Z came up with it like 20 years later. But anyway, be yourself. Everyone else has already taken. That's an awesome expression. Oscar Wilde came up with that one, not RVD. So I can't claim that as an original, but I love it. Words to live by. So yeah, I have the link is platypiproductions.org, which I'll be pushing with all of my different avenues of pushability, and hopefully people, check it out, and if you can relate to it and you like it, then wear it, sport it, represent our brand. But that's what it's about. So, Shelly, you've been up at the office, while we're working on the shirt stuff. You modeled the shirts. In fact, you're on the RVD TV episode wearing some of our product. I think it's important to celebrate your own individuality and to just realize, like, man, this is me. I was, whether you believe in intelligent design or you think that you got to where you are for being a single-celled organism a fucking billion years ago that evolved, either way, it's pretty amazing that you are what you are. Like, your whole everything that is you. And I'm saying this to everybody. If you look at yourself, like, wow, look at me. Here I am. A complete being, like, what I think or what I do, my physicality, my mentality, everything that makes you, nobody can take that from you. That's you. That's what you own in life. Everything else, it can come and go. Materials, whatever, fuck them. But you and your existence and your being, that's real. That's what you got. When you go through this life, that is what you have that nobody can take from you. So you can compromise it. You can have other people tell you that the way that you are isn't good enough. It doesn't meet their standards, and then they can try and make you to be less like you. Could be a productive thing. I'm saying there's a lot of value in just saying, you know what? I do fucking great by my own standards. I don't need yours.
I agree. I totally agree because I've kind of been on both ends. I've always been the type to kind of go with my own flow. But there was times, especially when I was younger, when I was insecure and it was, just trying to figure it out, I guess, to where I've arrived to, I just go by my own. And I'm really grateful, though, for those different years that were maybe a little difficult because maybe I cared a little bit too much, maybe even lost myself a little bit. But in experiencing that, the one thing, like you were talking about, at the end of the day, what you have, what no one can take unless you give it, is yourself. And when I'd have those moments of myself, I realized, this isn't who I am. And it's just one of those things where, we could sit here and some people at home might say, it's easy for RVD or, Shelly to say, just be yourself, look at us, because I'm not those people. But it's so real because it's above and beyond, what we've done in life. So especially you, hello, you're RVD. But it's like, it's above and beyond that, this life. Like you're saying, we are our own being. And I think people need to realize how real that statement really is. Because once you realize and feel how real life is, I have found that's when it's easier to just say, you know what, conforming has kind of worked against me. And, whatever your conclusion is, it's just one of those things where the more life became real to me, the more I understood life in a realer sense instead of being caught up, the more I was able to have the confidence to just do my own thing. And let me tell you something, it brought me happiness. Nothing else ever did except that. So that's what's up, in short, because I could talk forever about this.
Well, we do got a few minutes to talk about this. And some of the, Brian Kendrick, hopefully he's going to call in. Spanky, but he's actually teaching a wrestling class. That motherfucker is one of the most unique guys that I know. Like, he stands out as being so different, and I love that. It's like I can relate to him in that way, even though we're both different. Like, we can talk on a level, spirituality, quantum physics, life, whatever. We can talk on a level that other people don't necessarily feel as comfortable talking, and I love that, but I also know that what he's saying is straight from his heart. He's not saying it, to say he understands what I'm saying. He's saying this is the way he sees life, and I'm saying this is the way I see life. There's commonalities, there's inconsistencies, but it's great. I hope I can get Kendrick. There's a lot of people like that, that just like stand out, and if you don't stand out, well, then what? Then you just blend in, and what the fuck kind of fun is that? Who wants to just blend in? I mean, sometimes you blend in. I mean, if you just got through like robbing a jewelry store and you run out onto the sidewalk, you might want to blend in there.
Well, what's interesting is, I am friends with Brian. I have always had a really high opinion of him, and I enjoy the same things that you do about him. But it's just like, what's interesting to me is when you told me what the subject was, I was just thinking, what kind of points can I bring up? And one thing that I stumbled upon was, when I was more finding myself maybe conforming a little bit too much, I was younger and I was a more insecure place. But in my life at that time, I didn't really have good examples of people to really share that way of thinking with me. It was more of like people that were around me were telling me, even my own family members kind of, well, this is how it goes, this is how you should do it, or, how come you're not doing this, especially with wrestling when I entered my life. It was like, why don't you get a real job, this wrestling, what? And it was interesting because wrestling brought me people to become friends with like yourself and like Brian, to where when I started nurturing those friendships and having these cool conversations, it's almost like I felt for the first time I wasn't crazy. And it really helped me gain that confidence to embrace the way I think, even though some people might think it's weird or whatever. I let go of the caring. I really did, especially this past year. I let go of that, and it was just a freeing thing. But it started with support of having other people to have those kind of conversations with no judgment, if that makes sense.
Right. It's always other people. By the way, we actually get our first opinions of ourselves from listening to other people. Like, you would have no idea that you're hot if people didn't tell you that you're hot, and you would have no idea. Like, if people tell you enough, I don't care who you are. Like you could be Ron Swallow, and if enough people tell you, like, say, like, you go 2 days, and throughout the day, several times a day, people are telling you, like, Ron, you look like you put on some size. You've been hitting the gym, you've been working out, and you're like, no. If you hear that enough, you're going to start believing, wow, my body must be changing, because you just hear it so much. That's, we can look in the mirror and look at ourselves all day, every day, and not know exactly how we're seen, how we're perceived until other people come up. And, people had to tell me that they thought I was a good wrestler. I had Officer X has joined us. What's up? Oh, Sergeant X. I keep forgetting about the upgrade. Can you still go by Sergeant X or Officer X, or is it Sergeant?
Oh, brother, whatever you want.
Okay, cool.
I will conform.
Hey, yeah, so, Fonzie was on here, but we just lost his call, but we got a huge reunion coming up on the 7th of April in New Jersey. Sergeant X, you're part of that big WrestleCon extravaganza. RVD, Sabu, and Fonzie together for the first time in long time. I'm also bringing the ECW TV belt, so that fans that might want to get a picture with the most hardcore team ever in history, bam, you get that hardcore fucking belt, the TV title, the only belt that really meant anything ever in hardcore wrestling. So pretty stoked about that. What's the deal? legendsofthering.com, right, Sergeant X?
That's it, my man. And I think Shelly's there as well, right?
I sure am. I'm going to be there, having a good old time.
I think every wrestler is going to be there. I've never heard of an autograph signing convention first off, that has Hulk Hogan. Second off, that also has Ric Flair and the Ultimate Warrior's going to be there. That's incredible. This thing's pretty amazing. Huge.
Are you off your fucking meds or something?
Okay. All right. I like my sound bites. No one else has to. Hey, Officer X, we're talking about non-conforming, and we got Ron Swallow. I don't know if you know Ron. He's a very funny comedian, a friend of Bruce Jingles, who, by the way, Bruce has not joined us today, it seems like, but that's cool. Got Shelly Martinez and Nikki Starr and other people supposed to call in. But we're talking about standing out, and I remember a time like when I was just coming into my manhood, because I remember because I was in Japan around this time. It was like I was like 21, 22, I don't know, less than 25. And I remember like really coming to grips with this standing out thing, this being different. And I was realizing that I was getting feedback from a lot of people about that more and more. They were noticing that I do moves that no one else does. I do things that other people don't do, and I really took pride in that. And I started thinking, you know, like, well, fuck, I'm just going to do what feels natural to me. And I remember, this seems ridiculous right now, but I remember, like, I had a roommate at the time. I remember, like, having this conversation while I'm standing on the couch. Like, who says I have to sit on the couch? I feel like standing. Who says that the floor is for standing and the couch is for sitting? I feel like standing on the couch, so I'm going to stand on the fucking couch. And I did, yeah. And of course that's ridiculous. But that was me feeling like, hey, look, I'm doing something that's considered not normal, and I'm all right with it because I'm an adult, and I have the same right to do this as anyone else has the right to do what they want to do. If they want to walk down the hallway, if they want to run, and while we're talking about this, more thoughts are popping into my head. I also had the same arguments with my principal back in high school. Hey, why shouldn't I walk down the hallway on my hands? If I can walk on my hands better than this other guy can walk on his feet, then who the fuck are you to set your standards on me to hold me down? And I really, really felt like that. And I realized as an adult that kind of conversation is going to weigh in the favor of the principal. But looking back, I totally get it. Like, I remember my mind opening up to that and me needing the freedom to be me, to express myself, and to not be, like, held back by the expectations and constraints of normal people's standards. I remember that shit. So
sounds like you're a real fucking
wrestling,
pain in the ass.
obviously, that's helped with wrestling. It's made me stand out. My outfits are airbrushed. That makes me stand out. My moves make me stand out. And my demeanor. People are always amazed that I'm so laid back. Why? Because they're used to, I'm going to rip your head off and shit down your neck. And I'm not that guy. Every other wrestler is that guy.
I get it, Rob. It's funny how you bring that up because I get a big kick out of, like, I've been in the back of millions of shows, working at them, whatever, right? And I always get a kick out of, like, if I'm there and you're in the show, we can just be bullshit and your music will hit and you'll run out. And other guys are walking around in circles, slapping the shit out of each other, almost hyperventilating before they go out, you know? And you're always like, who gives a fuck? It's going to go how it goes, and that's it, you know?
Right, totally.
May I add to this really quick? Going back to having that example or whatever, it's interesting because, you know, I've talked to you before about, you know, when I got to work with you and everything, I saw how you went into a match and you made it seem fun. Or when I got to become friends and be on the road with people like Billy Gunn, I saw that he just didn't care. Like, he knew what he was going to do, but, like, you just go out there and do it kind of thing. And, like, not to sound like a nerd, but I am. It's like when I saw those examples, I applied it to wrestling because, that's, like, what I was seeing before me. But then when I applied it to wrestling, then I started applying it to my real life. And then, wrestling gave me a present. So there you go.
Damn. Absolutely. Yeah, so the reason that I asked Ron Swallow to be a guest is because I know when you see him up on stage, you know that this is a guy that he didn't get here the same way. I mean, there's people in the audience that go to see the comedians, and there they are. They're dressed up. They're on dates. They're drinking, having fun, whatever. They want to look at stereotypical stand-up comedy. And so someone like Ron Swallow goes up there, and you're totally giving a different perspective. You're saying, okay, let me describe life from my perspective. And people know right from looking at you, you know, you got a comic book T-shirt, you're up there like, hey, yeah, I mean, everything about you says, hey, this is me, I don't give a fuck, you know, I don't give a fuck if it's cool or not with you, this is me, so... there's Brian Kendrick calling my cell phone. Let me see. But anyway, Ron, I thought you would be a great guest for this because of that. I'm going to see what's up with Kendrick right now. Let me see if I can put him on speaker. Let me see. Hey, Brian Kendrick.
This is he.
Oh, what up, dude? Are you going to call into the radio show?
Yeah. Is that what we're doing right now?
Yeah, did you get the number that I texted to you?
Oh, shit, did I not call it? Did I call your number instead?
Call the other number.
Okay, yeah, I called them earlier, and then, anyways, I'll call right now.
All right, cool. All right, bye.
He's not conforming again.
Anyway, Ron, if you wanted to add anything to that, I mean, it's like basically if you didn't have your job and you weren't able to explain how life is from your perspective in a satirical, critical, criticizing kind of way, then isn't it possible that you would be a guy working at a factory bitter about life?
Oh, yeah, I would be. I mean, I've been fired from every job I've ever had. I mean, I can't, I don't like people telling me what to do, and I like doing comedy the way I do it. And it's true. Like, I'm a little bit weirder than everybody else. I don't really worry about it. But the funny thing is, when I was a kid, I tried to have tons of energy, and I tried to do all this stuff that I thought would make people laugh. And then one day I just decided to just talk how I talk and talk about things that I cared about. And all of a sudden I took leaps and bounds, and people started booking me and asking me to do comedy and get paid. I mean, you know,
you're fucking weird.
A lot, but, well, I am weird. There's no doubt about that.
Awesome. Hey, Spanky, is that you?
At a time. Huh? I'm sorry.
Did I get Brian Kendrick?
Yeah, can you hear me, man?
Yeah, okay, cool. Can totally hear you. Dude, on the phone we have Sergeant X, Shelly Martinez, Nikki Starr, comedian Ron Swallows. And thanks for calling in, because I know you got Ron Swallows. Sorry, I put an S on the end of that.
That's
it's
okay,
written like
that.
It's written like that. I swear I just read it on the call sheet. So Brian, thanks for calling in, dude. We're talking about being original. Non-conformity is the topic, and we're talking about standing out. We're talking about how for normal, I'm going to say normal, meaning the majority of people, one of their priorities is to be accepted. And for them to feel accepted, they feel like they have to meet up to other people's standards. Now, to some of us, it's not quite as important on our priority list, and it could be through something that's happened through history, you know, experience, or it could just be our natural setting that tells us to be ourselves more. But Brian, you're one of the guys, you know, that like myself, I believe that stands out as being an individual that you know when you have a certain conversation with this person is not going to be like talking to anybody else. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, thanks. Well, I'm flattered. I'll say that.
Oh no, totally, dude. I mean, we have some deep conversations about life, about spirituality, about our Creator, about quantum physics, we have all kinds of things like that. But you know, and I have also, by the way, I saw you recently in Desmond Wolf's documentary.
Oh, did you now?
Yeah, we had a screening of his documentary, which people should check it out. It's I told him afterwards, my synopsis is, this is about the inner struggles of a dream chaser who has felt short of his own standards and questions his lifelong efforts and his self validity. That's basically what it is. It's him struggling, going through his career, trying to make it, judging himself along the way. But they ask you a few questions on there, and just whatever answers you give already, I mean, you speak with such conviction, and you speak from your perspective. You're not repeating something that you think sounded good that you heard somebody else say. They ask you something about, he's gone so long and he hasn't made it yet, and you say something that I think was really profound to Desmond Wolfe, and you say, well, I think that if you're not going to make it, then you're not going to make it. You've already decided that.
Well, yeah, I believe that he's created a reality through his beliefs that, it's a woe is me reality, that he's a fantastic wrestler, and he is, and he never gets a break, and he doesn't get a break. But I think he helps that cycle by believing he'll never get a break and not looking at the reasons as to why he isn't getting a break.
Right.
That's
right.
my
Now,
2 cents.
How about real quick? Tell us how you think being different has helped you out. I mean, I just told Rob Swallow, he's a comedian. He goes up there. Comedians have a chance, to go through and they can go. A comedian can go through and explain their day, like, oh my God, I woke up, this happened. And people can relate to it, like, yeah, that's funny because I know I've had that happen, and that's a way for them to connect when otherwise they wouldn't connect. Otherwise, they would not stand out. And that's, possibly. I'm just saying career-wise. They could be someone that blends in, that sees everything different, doesn't express themselves, and then they end up, being bitter about life because you're held back. You're forced to surrender to the standards of society, which a lot of us with pride consider a lesser standard than those of our own. It sounds vain to hey, do you think you're better than everybody else? The easy answer is no. But in reality, ask yourself this: would you trade being yourself for somebody else?
Oh, the answer
Most
is no.
people would say no.
Yeah.
Some people say, oh, fuck yeah, I'd rather be this or that. But when you really think about it, if you had the choice to completely give up being you, completely, and everything that you've worked for, everything that you have, and to completely be somebody else. If the answer is, fuck no, I wouldn't do it, then you do think you're better than somebody else. Am I wrong?
Not at all.
No. I don't think my point of view is better than anybody else. It's better than anybody else, but it's the best for me. That's why.
Right, but that's what's right to you, though. That's what's right.
Right.
Anytime you argue, you think you're right. Otherwise, why would you argue? And if you think the other people are wrong, then it's one way to say, well, that's just right for me. But it's another way to say, yeah, you think you're right and they're wrong. Thereby, you think that your opinion probably, or your feelings on whatever said subject, probably is the best one.
It's what works best for you, for sure.
Yeah. So anyway, we have our own standards. We have, that's what we have, our own opinions. They're not all the same. You know what I mean? Like Sonya can look at somebody and she can just think it's the funniest thing in the world to see somebody dressed a certain way, and to me, I don't get it at all. I'm like a caveman thinking, hey, I'll kill an animal and wear its pelt, and it'll protect me. Last thing I'm thinking about is, I can't believe they're wearing that collar after Memorial Day. Are they fucking crazy? I don't get that, and I'm not a fashion guy, even though I do have this Platypi Productions Non-Conformity T-shirt line. but I'm not. I'm lucky if I can match two socks together.
I have a question for you.
Okay, I got a whole bunch of people talk, but go ahead. Who's got a question, Ron?
Yeah. Do you think that actually we're born to be individuals, and that society pushes us together to be conformists more than that, more than we choose to be nonconformists? We're actually supposed to be all individuals, but instead something within society makes us
My immediate answer to that, like what I think when I hear that question, is that it's the hierarchy of society that trains us and tells us that we need to conform. You know, throughout history, there's a powerful king, and everybody else is on the same level. Like, you know, get people to make something, kill them. Kill that, you know, get people to construct a fucking a sweet house for you, then kill those people so they don't build it for anybody else. The value on life, or the lack of value on life, because of the hierarchy and thinking that other people are lesser human beings, I think that's what causes conformity. I think people try to set standards not only for themselves but for everybody else, and then force them into it. It used to be, that's Sergeant X is.
Yeah, I gotta go to this fucking bullshit fight.
Okay, man.
On the line. Hopefully this is no fucking big deal. These fucking assholes. I don't know why they can't conform.
That dude's a fucking wannabe fucking faggot bodybuilder dick sucking asshole.
Get the fuck out of the way.
That guy, he's full of shit and he's a faggot, and when I see him, I'm gonna break his fucking twig boy neck.
Damn. I like that soundbite. Yeah. So yeah, I think that you know, like if we were born in a different time period, we would know exactly where our status of value is. You know what I mean? Like you, whether you're a slave back in the day, whether you're just a fucking slave and your life means almost nothing, and your entire life is devoted to to serving somebody else, which still a lot of us feel like that. Even though we're not slaves, or you know, or whether you're somewhere up that chain of command and you have people under you that you can tell what to do, but then you still have to accept what people above you say to do. I think that's what it is, man. There's leaders and there's followers, and then there's those of us that have a conscious effort of the balance of both to actually, you know, try to do the best thing in our interest. We all have a balance. We're all followers sometimes. We're all leaders sometimes. Some of us are known more for being one or the other. Some of us make an effort to stand out as more one than the other, and then other of us never even fucking think about it. That's what we're on RVD Radio, thinking about it together.
Super fun.
All right, cool. Well, fucking Nikki Stars, this. Let me know if those callers want to come in or not, or if they're just listening. And fucking, we heard from Kendrick and Sergeant X and Shelly and Ronzalo and Nikki and fucking, hey man, non-conformity. If it's a way of life. How's that for a fucking? How's that for a logo? Non-conformity. It's a way of life. Yay.
Yay! Well, I'm gonna have to let you guys go because I have something to get.
Shelly, what are you gonna plug? We're all gonna go. Actually, it's been a fucking it's been an hour. We've talked about it. People have grown from it. They've enriched their life.
Say hi to your mom for me.
Are you gonna pass that doobie or what?
Who stole the fucking dope?